I'm sorry, one more time.
How did your experiences observing your parents as a child affect your approach to your relationship with Miss Heard?
Well, in the beginning of my relationship with Miss Heard, there was, from what I recall and what I remember, it was as if she was too good to be true. She was attentive, she was loving, she was smart, she was kind, she was funny, she was understanding, and we had many things in common, certain blues music and, well, music, literature, things of that nature. So for that year or year and a half, it was amazing. There were a couple of things that, I don't know, stuck in my head that I noticed that I thought might be a little bit of a dilemma at some point. For example, I worked quite a lot, and when I would come home from work, I would come in the house or the hotel, and she would sit me down on the couch and give me a glass of wine and take my boots off, set them to the side, and I'd never experienced anything like that in my life. I just never thought that was, I just never experienced that before. And it became a regular thing that she did, this kind of routine. And I remember one night I came home from work, and I think she was on the phone or something, or busy. She was doing something, and so I sat down on the couch and I took my boots off, and suddenly Miss Heard approached with this look on her face that she just said, "What did you just do? What did you do?" I said, "What do you mean?" "You took your boots off." I said, "Yeah, yes, I did. You were busy, you know." No, that's my job. That's what I do. You don't do that. I do that." "Okay, all right then." And then she said, "Let me get you a glass of wine." And she brought me the glass of wine. But I did take pause, of course, at the fact that she was visibly shaken or upset that I had broken her rules of routine. I thought that strange. And then once you notice something like that, then you start to notice other little tidbits and things that come out. And then within a year and a half, she had become this another person almost.
I think this trial is going to get really interesting. I've been looking at a few of these anecdotes from Johnny Depp's testimony, and there's hours and hours of footage, and I think this is going to get really interesting because I don't know if everyone remembers this, but this has been going on for a few years now, and now it's back in the news again. When Johnny Depp and Amber Heard got divorced in 2017, she brought out an article in the Washington Post in 2018 talking indirectly about being the victim of abuse of a man from a man in power, right? I think it was talking about she was talking about women's inability to stand up to men who are powerful, to stand up to powerful men, and when they are victims of abuse from powerful men. So obviously she was talking about herself, and Johnny Depp realised this and sued her for $50 million for defamation. And it was a bizarre reaction, because at that time, Johnny Depp's personal life and public persona seemed to be falling apart. He'd gone from this sort of, or at least I thought, he was this sort of clean-cut, well-respected Hollywood actor who was growing old pretty gracefully, and then suddenly he looked like he was in a midlife crisis. There were all these stories of him misspending all of his money, going bankrupt, buying houses all over the world, and not having enough money to pay for them all, spending $30,000 a month on wine, having private islands, things like that. So there was all these stories coming out about him living this wild, irresponsible life. But then when he heard that his ex-wife was accusing him of physical and verbal abuse, his reaction was to bring out a series of recordings, voice clips of her abusing him verbally. And I can't remember exactly what was said in those recordings. You can listen to them, they're on YouTube. But they were pretty violent. She sounded very aggressive and erratic and irrational. And of course, he could have looked for the conflict and then very, conveniently recorded her. So that's another possibility that people pointed out at the time. But that anecdote he just gave there in his testimony, if it's true, and I don't know how you can prove it's true, is pretty damning. It makes Amber Heard sound like a very manipulative sort of person. And I don't know, first impressions, they're a killer. I have to say, Johnny Depp looks like he's acting all the time. I think this is a problem, though, with actors. You've been acting all your life and you just have this persona. You don't actually have a real personality left. I don't know, maybe I'm going too deep into it. But it doesn't seem like he's really there. But what he's saying could still be true. I don't know, it's really interesting. I want to listen to more anecdotes like this from the two sides. I'm going to listen to Amber Heard as well. But what Johnny Depp said there sounded terrifying. It did sound very manipulative and very, very scary. So God knows what's going to come of this trial. Because, as I said, he sued Amber Heard for $50 million and she's counterclaimed him for $100 million. So one of them's going down. It's absolute madness, and it's really actually fascinating. It's gripping me. I'm watching it now, and I'm gonna pick out little things that I find interesting from the testimony. Anyway, that's enough for this video, I think.